The story kicks off in a world going through some seriously weird stuff, like a giant abalone and a tree with massive roots, not to mention cracks and vines just falling from the sky. Meanwhile, at Shenwu High, a crowd is gathering for some prime-time drama because the most popular girl in school looks like she's about to dump her boyfriend. The tea is piping hot, and the rumor is she was only dating him out of pity since she's heading to an elite university and he got left in the dust with no college plans. Then, a guy named Fang Yi pops up in the crowd, looking totally confused by all the sudden attention on him. Right on cue, the redhead starts speech. She says she's thought about it, and their relationship is just not realistic. She continues her little monologue, claiming that high school romances always fizzle out and they need to snap back to the reality that they're just not a match. With an ice-cold stare, the young woman finally ends it all and warns him that it's impossible for him to win her back, no matter what he tries. The crowd around them wonders why he isn't saying anything, guessing the shock must have totally broken him. At that, his ex brags about being the most popular, and the peanut gallery agrees he was way out of her league. To everyone's surprise, the guy responds with a simple, "Oh, okay," and casually tosses something away. Faced with this, the redhead is left completely stunned, unable to process his reaction. He then turns to leave and the girl calls after him, annoyed, but he doesn't even give her the time of day. The main character glances back and coldly asks if she needed anything else. Furious, she yells that it doesn't matter what trick he's pulling because they are never, ever getting back together. With a smirk, the guy gives her a look that's all smug confidence. Then he tells the popular girl not to kid herself because he's got way bigger fish to fry right now. At this, the red is completely speechless and has no idea what to say to her ex. The people around them are also shocked by the young man's attitude as he walks away. But he's thinking that nobody there has a clue that the world is about to turn to ash. Because this guy came back from a future disaster, and to him, she's just some stranger from another lifetime. With that, the MC keeps walking, not caring about anything else. He strolls on, thinking that popularity and reputation don't matter anymore, because the world is about to change. The real crisis on the horizon is for all of humanity, not just for him. It all started the night before when he remembered a brilliant light shattering. In his memories, he sees fragments of a future with a blood moon and a raging sea. The guy recalls flashes of lightning and a bizarre monster attacking a city in ruins. With glowing red eyes, he processes these terrifying memories of the future. Soon, the age of cultivators will arrive, and the rules of the world will be rewritten based on power. Suddenly, the guy screams, "Wait," as a blue energy surrounds him completely. Then he finds himself in a strange place and asks who's there, facing a bright light. Moment, his eyes turn red, and a strange pain hits him out of nowhere. A screen appears, explaining it's a system from the end of the universe designed to create cultivation techniques. Intrigued by what he sees, the young man reaches out to touch the mysterious blue screen. With his finger on the panel, he tries to figure out how this otherworldly thing works. But as soon as he touches it, another vision of a giant, terrifying monster appears before him. The bizarre creature then shows up, enveloping him in a golden energy as a screen floats by. His red eyes glow intensely as he stares at the horrifying vision of the future. He sees that his fate was to be wiped out by the creature along with the rest of humanity. Back in reality, the young man is breaking out in a cold sweat, looking deeply shaken by the memories. His chest, he wonders if that was his old, powerless self. With a confident smile, he remembers that in his other life, he was just a regular Joe trying to survive. The guy recalls watching his nation fall, and all his people suffer from that calamity. In his memories, he couldn't escape the mutant beast that was destroying the city. Then he remembers dying, filled with despair and a burning desire for revenge. Within his red eyes, you could see the reflection of the monster that defeated him. Maybe that's why the system brought him back a year before the aura returned. The guy knows that right now, most people have no idea what's about to happen. He then extends his hand and touches a light that shatters into several pieces in front of him. With this, the young man decides he'll use every anomaly caused by the aura to his advantage. Immediately, a screen appears and the system begins a new evaluation of him. With a new power, his eyes shine brightly as he faces his destiny with determination. The system then informs him that a new path has opened, and he must collect techniques to save the world. At this, humanity realizes the imminent crisis and that they can only rely on their own strength to survive. The government, for its part, doesn't deny the rumors but simply tells people to prepare for the worst. To do this, they use cell phones to send out alerts about the strange creatures that are appearing. Several people are gathered in an auditorium to hear about the recent events. He thinks the government's quiet approach is harsh, but much more effective than the chaos in the neighborhood. The guy remembers the system told him to use anything, and he wonders where the anomalies are occurring. Just then, a message about Qingqing University appears, telling students to be careful. He sees that the university's UV index has hit an all-time high and a heat advisory has been issued. Around him, people are saying the news is fake and that a heat wave like that would kill anyone. He looks up at the sky and finds it strange, as the weather there is different and the university is nearby. To his surprise, his phone's app shows that the UV index right there is 0, confirming his suspicion. An alert warns people to avoid a university gate with a high UV index, but the comments still think it's a hoax. He smirks, thinking that most people believe this is all just a prank. But the guy knows the truth, and his first real shot at getting powerful has finally arrived. So he heads to the north gate of Qingqing University, which is usually pretty empty. As soon as he gets close, the young man feels the intense heat and starts sweating from the high temperature. He looks around and confirms that there's definitely something very strange going on in that place. Just then, he sees a few people running in terror, but his attention is drawn to some particles in the air. Curious about what he's seeing, the MC crouches down and reaches out to touch one of the points of light. With his finger right up close, he finally touches the golden energy to see what will happen. In that moment, the guy is shocked by the golden light that explodes in front of him. A blue screen pops up announcing that the system has found yang energy and will create a new power. With that, the young man screams in pain as the golden energy courses through his entire body. A massive explosion of light engulfs the entire university gate. People nearby are confused, wondering if that was a Super Saiyan. The MC continues to scream in agony, and his hair starts turning white. Floating in the air, he wonders if the process is over, because he feels like he's about to die. But the system informs him that he has obtained the golden sun breathing technique. Sometime later, it's new student registration day at Qingqing University. Over at the registration area, our hero's ex-girlfriend shows up, and a guy offers to help with her suitcase. Soon, several other guys join in to try their luck with the popular girl from school. However, the young woman coldly turns down their help, saying it won't be necessary. With a scornful look, she watches a deeply in-love couple nearby. But suddenly, a huge blast of golden light surprises the redhead and the other students. Then an alert over the loudspeakers warns everyone to stay away from the north gate immediately. With a serious look, the girl decides she needs to investigate these bizarre events herself. While at the north gate, a massive explosion of golden energy lights up everything around. Emerging from the smoke, a shadowy silhouette takes form with an aura of immense power. Then he takes a deep breath and his eyes glow with an intense, powerful golden light. A screen appears, explaining that the technique has been created and he has earned 50 compilation points. The guy holds the screen and wonders what these so-called compilation points are for. But he decides it doesn't matter right now, as it will surely be useful for the future. Shortly after, time passes and it's already night, with a strange moon shining in the sky. With that, the young man begins to practice his new golden sun breathing technique. Strong sun shines in the sky as a new energy spreads across Qingqing University. Just then, some students feel the sky darken and cool for a moment as they run towards the north gate. Over there, a large crowd forms to see what's happening in the middle of the chaos. The university's dean gets angry and asks why everyone ignored the warning to stay away. The group then pushes through the crowd, which parts for them as they head to the center of the event. With a serious look, the hooded figure orders the dean to completely lock down the north gate area. Just then, the system informs our hero that he has successfully purified a rank A polluted zone. The guy discovers that the government already marks these zones and wonders if there are others like him. Hearing the alert about unauthorized personnel, the young man realizes that things just got real. At that moment, the students see figures in uniform and wonder if they're from the army. From the top of a building, our hero notices that the commotion is drawing a lot of attention. With his red eyes glowing, he decides it's time to bounce and leaps off the building. On the ground, the mysterious hooded person walks over the energy-cracked soil. Posing stance, the hooded figure observes the scene of the incident with focus. This person crouches down and touches the ground to analyze the traces of energy. Shortly after, she picks up a piece of the ground to examine what happened there up close. With an analytical gaze, the hooded figure realizes the energy was caused by a person. Just then, officials evacuate the students while the person in the hood watches from a distance. In the middle of the crowd, the guy's ex-girlfriend is shocked to hear that the event was the work of a single person. In that instant, she spots a silhouette leaping away and wonders if that was her ex. But the redhead quickly dismisses the idea. With his grades, there's no way he could be here. Far away, at our hero's house, the sun sets and night finally begins to fall. Lying in bed, the young man complains that the heat in his body won't go away, not even with a cold shower. Because of this, he fears he won't be able to sleep if the heat continues like this all night. He worries that with today's commotion, someone might have noticed something strange. Then the guy picks up his phone and sees a trending story about a cultivation association. The young man remembers that before, everyone thought this was just an internet joke. Just then, he recalls the hooded people at the university and suspects they're from the association. Curious about the discovery, the MC opens the news story to read the full article. The article details the cultivation realms from ghost acts to total transcendence. In the comments, everyone thinks it's fake, but he wonders if the announcement might be official. The hero reflects that in his past life as a civilian, he never knew about this information. Sitting on his bed, he thinks about the cultivation association and decides to test his technique again. With that, the young man closes his eyes and concentrates to begin his training. In that moment, he starts to sweat as a powerful golden energy surges around him. The MC begins to float in his room, enveloped in an intense golden aura. A light shines on him, and the first step is to refine his body to contain the aura of heaven and earth. He manages to control the energy and successfully shapes it into the form of a divine axe. His eyes gleam intensely and a confident smile appears on his power-filled face. The system congratulates him for reaching the Daoshuai realm and gives him 50 compilation points. The guy remembers the points and reads the screen that talks about a new path opening up. The system explains that the points can be used to imbue compiled data into any object. He mulls over the idea of imbuing power into an object and stares at his mug on the table. Then he extends his hand toward the mug with a golden aura of power. The system asks if he wants to spend 1 point to place the Yang attribute on the item. He understands that this is like enchanting an item, giving it a supernatural power. The young man thinks that if he did this to a weapon, it would become his unique combat item. Soon, he decides that having a powered-up weapon will be crucial for the future that's coming. The guy then finds a small sword on his shelf and decides to test the power on it. He thinks that if the test works, he'll buy a real weapon to be ready for the monsters. Suddenly, a weird noise from outside the building catches his attention in the middle of the night. Outside, a shadowy creature with huge claws is watching the hero's apartment. With glowing red eyes, the bizarre creature shows its sharp teeth in the darkness. The strange creature, which looks like a giant demonic rabbit, prepares to attack the building. But inside the apartment, the guy has no idea of the danger that is approaching him. Lying in bed, the MC feels some discomfort from his new cultivation technique. With his red eyes, he wonders where that rat-like sound came from. He thinks the sound isn't coming from inside or from the pipes, and maybe it's a neighbor's pet. Walking through the living room, he thinks that with his enhanced hearing, it's normal to hear the neighbors. Then the guy sharpens his hearing to focus and get a better read on the strange sound. But the young man soon realizes that something is wrong and becomes alert to the strange situation. The hero goes to the door and comes face to face with the sinister creature right there in the dark hallway. In the hallway, the bizarre creature with red eyes appears and glares at him, ready to attack. Startled, he recognizes the mutant beast, and the memory of his past life sends a shiver down his spine. Meanwhile, a drone flies over the city at night, showing that others are aware of the danger. On top of a building, a girl complains that they still haven't caught the rabbit that ate a rare fruit. With a lollipop in her mouth, the young woman seems pretty calm and confident for the mission ahead. She then orders them to keep sending all updates on the target she's hunting. At that, the mysterious girl leaps from the top of the building to begin her pursuit. Falling at high speed, she moves with nimble grace between the huge city buildings. Suddenly, the young woman senses the mutant beast's aura and realizes she's closing in on the target. With her eyes glowing, she finally locates the creature and prepares for a confrontation. The mysterious hunter lands hard on a rooftop, moving with incredible agility. Running down the side of a building, she receives the order to pursue the target at all costs. With a firm and precise landing, the young woman continues her chase without wasting a second. Leaping between buildings, she warns that the creature ate a spirit fruit and could evolve. Just then, a man working late sees a blur pass by his window and is left completely confused. He wonders if he's hallucinating, but his boss chews him out for just standing there doing nothing. Meanwhile, the hunter is seen as a silhouette against the moon on the 65th floor. Back in the apartment, the hero is face to face with the bizarre creature, which shrieks in front of him. With his golden eyes, he realizes his body has changed, and now he can fight on equal footing. Then the creature attacks with its claws, but the young man dodges with superhuman agility. The hero thinks that his body has changed a lot, and now he can see the attacks in slow motion. With sun energy in his hand, he wonders why a mutant beast has appeared so early. At this, he recalls the things he saw in his past life and faces the monster. The guy knows the creature hasn't fully evolved, and the night increases its power and fury. So he lunges forward to attack, because he needs to stop the creature or everyone in the building will be killed. Using his MC manages to grab the creature with his energy-filled hand. With surprising strength, the guy bites the bizarre creature without showing any fear. Holding the monster firmly, his golden eyes shine with a cold determination. Then the young man spins the creature in the air and realizes its weak point is its tail. Seizing the opportunity, he grabs the beast's tail with all his might. The hero hurls the monster against the window, which shatters from the impact. With his fist glowing gold, he prepares to deliver a powerful blow. The guy unleashes a beam of energy that hits the creature dead on in mid-air. The monster is then completely swallowed by the intense golden beam of light from the attack. But the bizarre creature grabs the golden energy with its claws and tries to absorb the power. At that, the hero realizes the monster is trying to steal his yang power and counters the attack. He thinks the power of the sun is too strong and that the rabbit is just digging its own grave. Shortly after, a golden explosion engulfs the monster, which can't contain so much energy. In the next building over, a couple wakes up from the noise, and the man wonders if it was thunder. He then goes to the window to check but finds nothing out of the ordinary outside. Our hero lands on the floor, surrounded by remnants of his golden energy. The young man reflects that the thing was like a starving ghost trying to devour his power. After the fight, the monster's eye falls to the floor, releasing a weird black smoke. With a serious look, he stares at the remains of the creature he just defeated. Without a second thought, the guy stomps hard on the eye, crushing what's left of the beast. He understands that the creature of the night was desperate for his opposing Yang-type power. The young man imagines that if he were normal, the monster would have easily devoured everyone in the building. With that in mind, he knows he needs to collect more techniques to face the dangers of the future. Meanwhile, a mysterious girl leaps through the air against the moonlight, looking like a hunter. With incredible speed, the young woman runs down the side of a building at high velocity. Arriving at the scene, the mysterious hunter's eyes go wide with shock. Standing there in the middle of the night, she wonders if her target was defeated by someone else. Kneeling on the ground, she comments that the target has been destroyed and that she'll try to recover the night attribute. But as she touches the monster's remains, she's surprised by a golden energy that was still there. The young woman then feels an intense heat and a scorching aura that makes her recoil immediately. The young woman remembers the energy from the university gate and understands that this is no coincidence. Faced with this discovery, the girl activates her communicator with a serious and determined look. She informs Base that the target was eliminated by a new and powerful forerunner with a high-level attribute. Over the communicator, a voice questions if the gate purification and the rabbit were the work of the same individual. A man confirms that there are no records of this person in the database and that the association needs to recruit him. Aura of fire and blue energy, the silver-haired girl agrees with the association's plan. Then she carefully stores the small flame of energy in an object attached to her clothing. Her superior orders her to pause her current missions to prioritize tracking the new forerunner. At that, the mysterious hunter calmly begins to unwrap the lollipop she was holding. The young woman puts the candy in her mouth and says she perfectly understood the new order she received. But before starting the mission, the girl says she first needs some milk tea to relax. Over the communicator, a voice wonders who this mysterious figure with so much power could be. The young woman agrees that the president was right and that she needs to meet this powerful master. Our hero's day kicks off with the sunrise and he stretches, ready to train. He knows waking up early helps his cultivation, so he gets ready for another session. The fighter activates his breathing technique, soaking up the golden morning energy. His eyes glow intensely with golden power as the energy fills him up. He enters the Ghost Axe realm and feels the technique's aura manifest. A sudden burst of energy catches him by surprise, and he realizes he's having another breakthrough. Power rushes through his body, and he focuses to control this sudden surge. He clenches his fist tightly, feeling the energy condensed in his hand now. He materializes his key axe and notices the weapon feels way lighter. His hands firmly grip the weapon's hilt, ready to test his new power. The warrior raises the golden axe over his head, prepping a devastating blow. He advances to the 2-star Ghost Axe realm, unleashing his strength. His eyes now burn with golden flames, reflecting his newfound power. The main character's body feels much stronger and tougher after this evolution. Progress was lightning fast since he used the leftover energy from his last breakthrough. Our hero decides that from now on, he'll take his leveling up slow and steady, one step at a time. But his cultivation draws a ton of attention, so he needs a more discreet spot. In the association's office, a man senses a disturbance in the air. He notices the fluctuation in solar energy and wonders if it's the newbie again. Our guy finds an isolated spot near a river to get on with his plans. A system screen pops up, and he confirms he's going to imbue his weapon with an attribute. He remembers trying this with another item, but the object couldn't handle the power. This time, the new blade resonates with his energy, creating a powerful connection. The item encoding is a success, confirmed by a system notification. Hyped up by his new weapon, he gets ready to test its incredible power right now. The result of the test leaves him completely floored by the sheer power unleashed by the sword. A massive golden beam of light shoots out from the blade at full force into the sky. The warrior lands with his sword in flames, feeling the power flow through his body. He almost starts a wildfire with that swing and realizes just how dangerous his strength is. The smoke from the attack is huge, so he knows he's been spotted and needs to bounce. A girl is furiously running towards the smoke he left behind. She grumbles that she stepped out for a second, ended up missing all the action. Suddenly, the young woman stops, noticing that the river is literally boiling. The agent hovers over the damage, wondering what the heck the newbie did to the place. She can already picture the chewing out she's going to get, since everything's gone sideways ever since he showed up. Just then, a golden glint in the distance catches her eye, and she gets curious. The hunter is in total shock at what she's sensing. This shouldn't even be possible. His aura jumped from 1-star to 2-star, and he even created a spirit weapon. The association only has 2 of those weapons, and the tech to create them is incomplete. The girl gets suspicious, wondering how he managed to get this kind of power all on his own. But she figures she must be mistaken and decides to start cleaning up the mess he made. Far away, our hero thinks about how his weapon now has the yang attribute, but he wants more. The system can encode anything, so he plans on adding more attributes to the blade. Suddenly, his phone buzzes with a message from an unknown user. He completely forgot about privacy, and now some stranger is inviting him to a pioneers group. He's shocked to learn that official recruits have to be, at least Ghost Axe realm level. The stranger mentions a new pollution zone and invites him to a group hunt. He asks for the location, and the stranger sends a file about the lava dragon of the Shadow River. The zone has lava and the same yang attribute he has, so the guy decides to accept the invitation. Far away in the Binmu district, a group is waiting for Oldley's friend to show up. One of the members says the girl's map was so detailed, he got there in no time. The blonde girl thanks everyone for coming and reminds them they need to work as a team. She's from the Cultivation Association and is bummed that none of the pioneers here are very promising. What many don't know is that the Cultivation Association is a government agency. Getting into the agency was tough and cost her family some favors, so she hates to fail. Just then, one of the explorers sees the newbie arriving and calls him by his name, Fang. Our protagonist makes an imposing entrance with his new sword and introduces himself to the group. The agent is startled by his power but notices his aura isn't oppressive but warm. Since the team is all here, the leader gives the signal, and they head towards the cave entrance. Our guy decides to take the lead and asks the blonde agent to handle the lighting. The group walks through the cave, and one of them warns Fang about the loose rocks. They find it strange that the place isn't that hot yet. Our guy reflects on how quickly the team accepted him and feels that their friendship is genuine in these tough times. Our hero keeps moving forward, and the ground beneath his feet starts to change color, signaling imminent danger. Suddenly, they reach a massive chasm and are stunned to see a river of boiling lava right in front of them. Without a second thought, Fang rushes towards the danger, and the blonde agent yells at him not to be so reckless. To everyone's shock, the warrior plunges his sword straight into the lava, and the explorers panic, screaming for help. A fairy explosion throws the team backward, and our guy's system detects a worldwide anomaly and starts analyzing the data. A system screen pops up describing a new skill called Inner Flame. The Crimson Flame Blade technique unleashes immense power the moment it's unsheathed. When the sword gathers flames, the wielder's battle intent explodes into pure power. And C then firmly grips the hilt of his powerful new weapon. He realizes with excitement that the new power is the perfect complement to his Tang blade. The group watches in shock as the young man's weapon absorbs the power of the lava. The fighter's blade is now completely fused with the lava's energy. The protagonist recovers and says the energy has stabilized, so they can start training. The other explorers celebrate now that they can absorb the energy too. The agent says she'll just gather intel and keep watch for them. But then she notices more explorers arriving in the cave. A new group of beefy guys shows up, declaring that the place now belongs to them. She gets worried, seeing that all three are in the Phantom Axe realm. She looks at her friends and concludes that there's no way they can provoke these guys. Still, the agent confronts the group, pointing out that they got here first. The enemy leader just scoffs and yells for them to get lost immediately. The agent thinks that in this new era, the weak are just prey, but she has to do something. But our MC steps forward, and the agent is stunned by his action. He then confronts the enemy leader, calling him a coward for trying to intimidate a girl. He firmly grips his flaming sword. The protagonist then attacks the rival group with his weapon, creating a massive fiery explosion. Faced with this, the gang leader is left completely shocked by the power of the strike. With that, the muscular men are sent flying by the powerful wave of energy. At that moment, one of his friends who was meditating wonders what in the world just happened. The young man reflects that these tragedies happen because the strong always prey on the weak. He knows that small talk and moral lessons are useless against people like this. And because of that, the enemy leader is now staring at our MC with a look of pure terror. The protagonist then yanks his sword forcefully from the ground, releasing even more power. A wave of golden energy explodes, and he screams at the enemies to get out of his sight. Big Guy is caught in the second blast and wonders, what kind of monster is this guy? Without a second thought, the group flees the scene in a panic. With the MC's victory, his companions celebrate, telling him his move was totally awesome. With a smile, the MC says they've all absorbed enough spiritual energy. The agent then agrees that the zone seems depleted, and with that, the group decides to leave. She observes the MC and thinks that if that attack had hit the others, they would have been turned to ash in an instant. With a serious face, she decides she needs to report this to the organization immediately. In the office of the Cultivation Association, a woman asks the agent about the new pioneer. On the phone, the agent is surprised and asks if there's already another one like him. The woman in the office dodges the question and asks to be notified of any new developments. She then ends the call by pressing a red button on her cell phone. She asks her superior if they got lucky, but he says that people like that will be in power soon enough. The man gets stressed out and says the situation is getting way too complicated. Short time later, on a sunny day, we see the city again. Wearing a hood, our MC draws attention, and people comment that his sword looks real. Passing himself off as a cosplayer, he walks down the street but still stands out in the crowd. With a serious expression, he pulls out his phone to check the news. On his phone, he sees news about dragon auras and even an anonymous report about himself. The MC thinks that he underestimated his inner flame, and that it caused the anomaly. He feels that after absorbing so much energy, he might be on the verge of a new breakthrough in his technique. With that, he decides to hurry to the mountains to train in an isolated place. 5 minutes later, the young man finally arrives at the mountain behind the city. In this mysterious place, a shovel is stuck deep in the ground. We see the garden restoration specialist, Su Jingying, stretching tiredly. But suddenly, the young woman looks up, completely shocked by what she's seeing. The young woman sees an intense light and feels an overwhelming aura coming from the person on the mountain. A huge spiral of energy appears, and she wonders who is breaking through to a new realm. She can barely keep her footing and thinks that this disturbance is just monstrous. Without hesitating, the girl decides she needs to check out what's happening. She leaps toward the energy and, with determination, says she has to catch him. Meanwhile, our protagonist is in the middle of his power-up. As he meditates, a golden multi-armed figure forms around him. His eyes glow, and his face is covered in lines of golden energy. A divine axe forms in the middle of a golden and green spiral of energy. The girl watches and wonders how he can control the energy with such precision. She remembers failing her own breakthrough and being stuck in bed for a whole week. Seeing his power, the young woman compares him to a god descending to the mortal realm. Unlike other pioneers, he's calm and mature like a reclusive master. Suddenly, the girl realizes the divine axe has moved to the east. The protagonist's eyes shine intensely with an overwhelming golden power. He floats in the air, and the system announces his breakthrough to the 2-star Phantom Axe realm. A wave of energy hits the girl with force, but she holds her ground. But the force is so strong that she's thrown backward into a tunnel of energy. She's frustrated about losing him again and realizes he's already noticed her presence. With a glint in her eyes, she seems to have an idea to find him. Standing before a giant tree, she calls out for the senior, who is still nearby. The MC then appears and thinks, "So she's the one who's been following me these past few days." The young woman introduces herself as a captain of the Cultivation Association and makes a formal invitation. She says she followed him for 2 days to invite him to the official association. She hopes not to offend him and worries about keeping her tone of voice gentle. With a serious expression, the MC just asks why he's being invited. The girl panics, knowing that empty compliments won't work on him. She explains that the country wants to organize the pioneers to face future threats. The MC then says he can refuse as he doesn't fully trust them yet. She is left completely speechless. She then introduces herself as Su Jingying and says she used to be a professional athlete. The young woman shows her association ID to prove she can be trusted. The protagonist seems to recognize her and says he thinks he remembers her. He understands that she runs so fast because she already had a great physical foundation. But his expression darkens as he remembers that in his past life, humanity lost. Seeing the destruction in his memories, he decides he will join, but not right now. The young woman gets hopeful hearing that the mysterious young man remembers her. Finally, he says he'll think about it and then zips right past her. Reaching her, he asks her to keep his whereabouts a secret for now. With his red eyes, the MC thinks that she could be useful to him in the future. The girl agrees to cooperate but warns that she needs to report his breakthrough, and the young man accepts. The young woman tries to say something else, but he has already vanished. She is left alone in the immense forest. Frustrated, she complains that he's avoiding her on purpose and that cleaning up his tracks is a pain. Suddenly, her communicator alerts her to an anomaly, and she wonders if they are back. She then remembers those brutal, twisted things she will never forget. Creatures feed on the power and pollution zones, and some become terrifying beasts. These beasts create new pollution zones, and if they aren't stopped, they will destroy the world. At that moment, night falls, and a heavy rain begins to pour over the city. Suddenly, a powerful bolt of lightning illuminates the rainy sky over the city's buildings. Someone then steps into a puddle of water. Alerts on a cell phone warn of the storm and the closure of a tourist area. Wonders which powerful cultivator is undergoing a tribulation there. With a serious face, the MC observes the storm before him. He senses a powerful thunder attribute and realizes the center of the storm is close. He climbs the stairs, unfazed by the heavy rain. Facing the mountain, he confirms that's the epicenter of all that power. Our hero leaps at high speed through the rainy forest. With agility, he lands on the ground and continues on his way. Suddenly, the system detects a pollution zone on Jade Emperor Peak. The screen shows the dark mountain and reports that the pollution level is unknown. The MC then enters the ominous forest without fear. With a determined look in the darkness of the night. At that moment, a massive blue lightning bolt descends from the heavens with incredible force. The lightning's energy seems to concentrate on our protagonist. Meanwhile, at the association, a screen shows the danger level of the peak is rising. The leader says the incident is critical and asks the young Jingying to explain the situation. In the meeting, she reports that the peak is inaccessible and the zone has been classified as rank A. She warns that the peak could become rank S and that no one can get close. The other members agree that even a 3-star pioneer would be done for. Because of this, one of the officials decides to initiate a lockdown at the base of the mountain. The leader agrees to seal off the mountain until the energy subsides. A lightning bolt strikes the ground with crushing force. Yimsi uses his puppet clone to advance. He then heads to the heart of the storm to extract the purest thunder attribute. In this era, humans are at the bottom of the food chain. Even a rabbit is a threat. Even with his current techniques, he's still not strong enough. The yang attribute increased his blade's durability, and the flames boosted its destructive power. The thunder power here is the perfect opportunity to strengthen his body. He knows that to get stronger, he has to seek out opportunities in the midst of chaos. Because if he doesn't, he'll be left for dead when the calamities strike. He prepares to absorb the thunder's energy. But as he tries, he meets intense resistance. With a pained expression, the protagonist struggles to withstand the pressure. He then screams as an intense blue energy hits him with full force. Gasping for breath and surrounded by lightning, he still holds his sword firmly. He knows this thunder attribute is, by nature, a form of divine punishment. With a sweaty face, he feels the energy trying to force him to his knees. But he defies the storm and wonders how he can possibly master this power. Suddenly, he has an idea and uses his golden sun breathing at full power. With a cry, he charges forward with his flaming sword against the blue energy. A massive explosion of yellow and blue energy illuminates everything around. Injured and spitting up blood, he continues to hold his flaming sword. He then decides he has to endure and face his end in order to survive. His foot sinks into the ground with force, cracking it. The energy paralyzes him, and he knows the thunder's power wants to finish him. But his eyes glow a brilliant yellow. A blue lightning bolt strikes him, and the system announces that it is compiling a new power. Some people watch the storm in shock, worrying about the city. Meanwhile, the system informs him that he has obtained Divine Thunder Tempering and 50 points. The new attribute is offensive, and unlike the Yang attribute, it's dominant in both attack and defense. With the new power, he says the thunder is now his spear and his shield. He feels the power refining his body without pain and understands that it's a purification. The system informs him that the power punishes evil, and he thinks about putting it on his blade. But he realizes this could ruin the purity of the Yang attribute on his sword. Besides, adding too many attributes could cause the blade to collapse. He then has an idea and decides to embed the thunder attribute into his right hand. With a confident smile, the young man confirms his choice to the system. At that moment, an intense blue energy forcefully envelopes his hand and arm. The next day, the energy on the peak has subsided, but the air still has an electric charge. Surrounded by a green aura, says that a pioneer was here. Is surprised and asks the major if the person is still alive. But she can't detect the attribute and concludes the storm wiped away all traces. The young woman asks why, and the major explains the timing of the anomaly and the lockdown. With his eyes gleaming, he says the peak of the storm was at 7 o'clock. He senses the person has lightning abilities, and that's why they survived the tribulation. For that reason, the major suspects the individual is not only alive but actually caused the event. He says this kind of person is dangerous because they don't know which side they're on. Far away in his house, our protagonist sneezes on the couch. The military officer then gives the order to spare no effort in finding this person. The codename given to the mysterious cultivator is the Tyrant. The association then hopes to recruit the Tyrant as soon as possible and decides to squash the news. Major Han says they also have a high-ranking candidate trying to get in touch with the kid. At this, the silver-haired girl is a little taken aback by the info she just heard from her superior. She reports that he's the same one who purified the University Gate anomaly. On the inside, she starts to panic. The young woman explains that she tried to contact him, but his movements are unpredictable, and he possesses the solar attribute. In her thoughts, the girl despairs, realizing she had to mix truths with half-truths to keep her cover. Upon hearing about the solar element, Major Han becomes thoughtful, analyzing the situation of this new, powerful pioneer. He then congratulates her on a job well done, saying the organization needs young people like her for its future. He decides to release fake news about natural disasters, mentioning he dislikes posting about spiritual energy. Meanwhile, at our protagonist's house, the night is rainy, and he seems to be plotting his next move. Our protag then decides to use his golden sun breathing technique to dry a jacket that was on the couch. With his power, he leaves the garment completely dry and gleaming, looking like it just came off the rack. Right after, he puts on the jacket and notices that even after gaining the thunder attribute, he still feels a clear change. His right hand has undergone a physical transformation and is now the strongest part of his body, crackling with the power of lightning. He's amazed at how he controls such violent energy and feels he's on the verge of a new breakthrough in his power. Our protag recalls the unbearable pain he felt when he first activated the solar attribute with his technique. He notes that the thunder power was weakened, but the system informs him it deals 300% more damage to enemies. Suddenly, a notification on his phone, which is on the table, catches our protagonist's attention. With a serious look, he picks up the device, wondering what could possibly be happening out in the world now. On the screen, he sees that the country is issuing emergency alerts to protect people from a global shift. But our guy knows these warnings always bring new opportunities. A temptation he just can't resist. Red eyes glowing intensely, something specific in the news piques his curiosity. The article talks about an explosion at a factory, but he finds the resulting pollution highly suspicious. He then reads comments from people talking about a cold, sinister smell and finds the description eerily familiar. At that moment, our guy remembers something terrible from his past life that gives him a bad feeling. In his memory, he sees a bizarre creature attacking innocent people while he hid, terrified. Red Eyes, the monster from his memories, looked like a relentless and terrifying predator. He wonders if the creature from the news could be the same type of beast he saw in the past. With a serious and determined face, the fighter begins to process the new, dangerous information. He knows these things love the dark and can be either plants or animals transformed into killers. He knows this new creature is 100 times more dangerous and he needs to stop it before it evolves further. So, our protag decides it's time to test out his 300% critical hit power in a real fight. He takes off at high speed through the rainy city at night, on his new hunt. The streets are deserted, and the heavy rain creates a suspenseful atmosphere as the traffic light glows red. In an instant, the protagonist zips across the street at incredible speed the moment the light turns green. An extermination team from the association has lost the trail of an anomaly called Candle Night. One of the agents reports that the creature merges with the darkness and enjoys devouring people. Under the lightning storm, the team knows the creature will definitely start feeding soon. With a determined look, the squad leader says they can't let that happen. At the command center, an operator updates File 7 with new information about the anomaly. The mission has been elevated to a B-level priority with a 12-hour deadline for the team to complete it. The extermination team is ordered to continue tracking, but their top priority is to preserve their own lives. Leaping between buildings, one of the team members confirms he understood the order and continues the hunt. The leader looks at the map and complains that mutations are everywhere, keeping headquarters swamped. Back in the control room, an operator notices something strange on the city map and tells them to hold on. On the main screen, an agent from the Spiritual Energy Association appears with a serious expression. Wing, team leader, is on a monitoring mission, and they can provide temporary assistance. At this, the extermination team's chief and his partner look up, and they don't look too happy about it. On a rooftop, the girl and her team stare down at the other agents with disdain. The man says the anomaly devours humans, and she fires back, asking if that's his idea of asking for help. With a cold attitude, the girl says the extermination team is strong enough, and that they're leaving. The leader apologizes, explaining that without their tracking ability, everyone in the city is a goner. So the two teams join forces on a rooftop to survey the city and hunt the creature. One of the agents uses his ability, and a bluish energy in his hand finally locks onto the target. The energy then expands into a large vortex that heads towards the monster's hiding spot. They find the creature, which likes damp and dark places, feeding peacefully. The leader of the Wing team orders the sabotage unit to begin the operation to stop the monster. Suddenly, the creature stops what it's doing, its whiskers sensing the agent's presence. The monster then detects them, and the sabotage team immediately activates their attack formation. In a swift and brutal move, the creature lunges forward at high speed to attack the hunters. One of the agents charges towards the monster, positioning himself for an attack from the east. The other agents then surround the creature from all sides, setting up the attack formation. Leaping through the air, one of the hunters goes all out against the anomaly to start the fight. The hunter lands a powerful blow on the monster's back, but the attack seems to have no effect. With its claws, the beast anchors itself to the ground, ready to retaliate with full force. Suddenly, the monster's back begins to pulse with a strange and very dangerous energy. With a roar, the creature unleashes its sonic power in a wave of dark, destructive energy. The team leader yells for everyone to watch out for the sound waves and get back immediately. The waves of dark energy slam into the agents as they try to shield themselves from the sonic blast. One of the team members then asks if the commander is okay as they retreat from the attack. The leader says the creature is powerful and that if they hadn't pulled back, they would have been turned to dust. The anomaly then opens its wings and begins to gather green energy in its throat for an attack. The monster fires a powerful blast of green energy from its mouth toward the ground. The beast then looks down as the green energy pools on the ground, creating a new threat. An agent warns that the creature is escaping through the ground with a dark, corrosive energy. But the commander orders them to hold formation, as the mission is now to collect data for the battle. Dagger in hand, one of the agents tenses up, prepared for whatever might happen next. In the darkness, a pair of glowing red eyes appears, watching the hunters menacingly. The winged creature swoops in, attacking one of the agents from above in a swift, brutal move. Seeing this, the leader of the other team yells not to let the monster escape and to pursue it at all costs. The beast then flees, flying through the streets, leaving a trail of green smoke behind it. However, the team stops on a rooftop as the girl senses something strange, telling the others to wait. Inside an abandoned factory, she decides to measure the concentration of spiritual energy in the area. The blonde guy asks about the reading, and she says the creature's energy was at 48 moments ago. But suddenly the device shows the power concentration has shot past 80 and is still climbing. They soon realize there isn't just one anomaly here, as a new creature emerges from the darkness. Faced with the new threat, the girl and the other squad's leader are completely shocked by the situation. The man understands the creature lured them into a trap and tells everyone to fall back quickly. The young woman then fires a beam of energy at the gate, saying that with their combined strength, they can reopen the passage. Suddenly, the agent feels something strange and tries to shield herself from the green mist surrounding her. She realizes she's been poisoned by the gas and collapses to the ground as the creature closes in. The young woman then screams for her companions, but no one answers, and she finds herself alone in the abandoned factory. She remembers that the creature lured them into the lair of another beast, which she suspects is a giant snake. Then, a massive serpent with glowing green eyes emerges and stares down the girl in the toxic fog. The agent knows the gas is draining her energy, and that without a protective shield, she won't last long. Completely drained of strength, she falls to the floor, wondering if this is the end for her, facing such a monster. But just then, a bright light from the factory ceiling catches the fallen girl's attention. With her eyes, the girl follows the mysterious figure descending from the hole in the roof. Soon, a great blast of light destroys part of the ceiling, and a silhouette appears amidst the debris. The agent continues to watch the scene from the floor, still stunned by the unexpected arrival. Then, our hero descends from the hole he just created, wearing a calm and confident expression. His feet touch the ground with force as he prepares for the confrontation that's about to begin. He faces the creature and sword in hand says, "So, this is a shadow-type anomaly." At this, the giant serpent roars, baring its sharp fangs, and prepares to attack the protagonist. The winged creature attacks our hero from behind, but he counters with a powerful kick to its mid-air form. However, the monster manages to bite the protagonist's shoulder, who cries out in pain from the surprise attack. With the other beast on the ground, he understands there are two creatures here, one for the lure, and one for the kill. Right after, he taunts the monster on his shoulder, asking if it has some kind of biting fetish. With that, he unleashes his full thunder power with his hand to teach the biting creature a lesson. The bolt of blue energy then slams right into the giant serpent, causing a massive explosion. Our protag then turns to the serpent, his sword now ablaze, and asks, "You scared of a little fire?"